Hey,
Hey yo.
happy Monday, y'all. Nice sports weekend. Also, shout out Yoda. Welcome
Shout
home.
out to Yoda.
See
Yes.
that he's doing
Glad.
better, Yoda the Sphinx. But
Absolutely.
thank you for joining us. There was a lot of good stuff to take in over the weekend, so I hope you guys caught. I mean, obviously the tournament first and foremost, but did have a UFC pay-per-view. Uh, just kind of the novelty of the World Golf Championships match play. It's just kind of fun to see those guys play match play. And, well, it was today, unfortunately, so I've only seen clips, but the first dirt race in the top level of NASCAR in 50 years.
That's right.
A lot of
Dirt
good
racing,
stuff.
boys. Take it back to the local tracks.
Old school hockey, Eddie Shore.
Eddie Shore. Put on the tinfoil, coach. Every game.
Oh, and one other thing, too. We'll get into that when we get into the side pieces. Tyler, how are you doing this evening?
Oh man, yeah, doing good. Just got the Elite Eight game on my TV. So if you see me looking away constantly, forgive me for that. But looks like Baylor's kind of beating the shit out of Arkansas. But all in all, man, doing good. Ronnie, how was your weekend?
Nice weekend. Just a really nice day yesterday. Like unseasonably warm. And we were actually, let me download this in here as I go along with this story here, because I did Tyler, we talked about it before the show, but I have it here for you now. So shout out to Callan also for joining in, Hall of Famer Callan McClurg.
That's right.
And Nick, CEO Nick, hashtag Suck a Mosquito. This is Manny Pacquiao has also signed with the Brooklyn Nets. They're getting everybody out here.
They're getting everybody. Yep.
They are out of control. But where did this thing go? I just had it. Hold on, I'll grab it.
Oh, no.
No, it's not anything. It's because he sent it to some crazy. All right. CEO Nick sent me a headshot that he wanted me to use, but it's in some insane format that I don't even know what it is. So, not pictured. CEO Nick was handling some, high-powered marketing discussions in Palm Springs over the weekend, and we were dog sitting. That's pretty much, you have to do whatever the boss says. So. Took those dogs out to the beach yesterday. That was pretty fun, and just watched a lot of basketball. Caught a little bit of the golf when I could. And I was hoping, like I said, that race would have been yesterday, but due to unforeseen circumstances, had to be pushed to today. But overall, a good weekend. Also got to see majority of the main event in the UFC pay-per-view. So nothing to complain about there, but. Before we get into sort of those main events that we were talking about, let's fire up the side pieces and touch on some of the noteworthy items over the weekend. Let's slow it down. First off, because I want to talk about this first, so I don't get too upset about it. Third straight Olympics we don't make it into. Look, I get it. To an extent, I get it.
No, we're not. I don't.
We should still be able to get in the Olympics, let's be honest. But everything in U.S. soccer for the men's team is all geared around the World Cup. And we missed the last one. How big of a setback was that? They're just trying to get into the World Cup. That's always like the most prominent time for U.S. soccer. It's just soccer in general for the casual fans in this country. But we still should be getting into the Olympics. Not least of all, not missing 3 straight.
Yeah, all being knocked out by what is it? It's Honduras, Trinidad and Tobago is one year, and who was the other one? I can't even remember. But yeah, exactly.
Fucking embarrassing, boys.
It's fucking embarrassing. Yeah, just a real bad performance. I mean, honestly, from the bit, I didn't watch every minute of every game. I watched quite a bit of the one yesterday, but just from what I saw, man, the team just didn't look good. The goalie David Ochoa kind of dragged them through the group stage just with his stellar play, and unfortunately, he made look, it's an inexcusable mistake that he made that wound up giving Honduras the winning goal. But he's the only one on that entire team that I'm like, yeah, like you played your balls off during the tournament. Other than that, it was just 10 guys jogging around, not with any plan, not with any. Just it was I don't know, it was shitty to watch.
Yeah, not the best look, and just tough all around, especially when you're really looking forward to the Olympics like Tyler and I and all other sports fans are. Give your balls a tug. Yeah, exactly. But ironically, earlier in the day, and this kind of circles back to what I was saying about the Olympics versus the World Cup in the pantheon as far as how they're regarded by U.S. soccer. A lot of the guys that would be on the Olympic team, if you don't know, for the Olympics, there's a couple ways you can get at the time of qualifying when it begins. You have to be 23 or younger, and then you have like two exception spots. And a lot of the guys that were actually in, as the Baron points out, the Northern Ireland friendly, that earlier in the morning are under 23 and are our best players under 23. But there's some kind of crazy something going on over here. I can't tell what it is, but it's like,
is the possum?
I have no idea what it is. It's really loud. Anyway, bombs going off. I don't know, but so the players that are that age that play for the U.S. and are potentially World Cup players, I expect to see all those guys. And I'm talking about obviously Pulisic, Reina,
Yeah.
Serginho Dest. The list goes on. Um,
Tyler Adams. That's another
U.S.
one.
soccer will not take them away from teams if they're already playing for a team in Europe and getting minutes in the middle of that season to go qualify for the Olympics, because it's more valuable to them to keep them in Europe, not falling out of the rotation by going to play the Olympic qualifying tournament. Again, I still think we should be able to come up in a country of 330-ish million people with a team that could qualify for the Olympics in this region, but alas, that's not the priority, and that's just how it's unfortunately going to have to be. We don't have the depth to fill in those spots for guys that are equal or suitable replacements for them, where a lot of these other teams, Caribbean teams or smaller teams in the CONCACAF region, or in the case of Mexico, they just have enough depth to not have to go get all their guys out of Europe just to qualify for the Olympics. But a sad fact of the state of U.S. soccer, MLS is trying somehow, some way to figure out how to get the youth development program into something more workable than what it is.
Don't make it pay to play. There's your answer right there.
Well, and there's a lot of other things. I'm not going to go off on a whole thing, but there's a lot of problems with it. Yeah, so we will not be seeing Team USA in the Olympics for the men's team.
Yeah, it's embarrassing, but like you said, we could probably devote an entire show plus to the issues with this, so let's just move on from it.
Please, let's do. Moving on, as CEO Nick alluded to, and rumors are still out there. I don't know for sure, but Manny Pacquiao may be signing a 10-day contract with the Nets. I don't know. They're snapping up everybody, going all in for the super team. They bring in LaMarcus Aldridge. Not at this point a superstar player, but definitely a nice complementary guy to add to a team that already has 3 superstar players if they all ever play together.
Right.
So, they're loading up. I still don't think it's just a straight walk to the finals like everyone is assuming. LeBron and Anthony Davis aren't dead. They're just hurt right now. So the Lakers are trying to tread water. To sort of offset that, they did bring in Andre Drummond, which was a nice little piece to add in there. Rebounding beast. Always a fan favorite because he just looks like ODB, which, we are all about that woo.
Dirt McGirt.
But the Nets are really putting something together. You can't really, and we haven't really seen, all of Durant who knows where Kyrie Irving is at any given moment, or if he wants to play basketball ever again, who knows. But Harden is having an MVP numbers type season. I just disagree with the concept that he could be MVP in the same season that you just blatantly quit on the team you started the season with.
True.
But definitely going to be a tough out for anyone in the playoffs. And like I said, the Lakers, I wouldn't say it's a stopgap because it's not, it's going to be a rental. He's not going to probably re-sign with the Lakers next year, but got to do something because they look real bad. I mean, you take out the two anchors of that team, and it's a whole different. I mean, they struggled just to barely beat the Magic yesterday, and I was like, man, watching the Magic, I'm like, I don't even know who some of these guys are, and I consider myself a pretty decent sports fan, but it's tough to watch right now. What's going on with the Lakers? So get well soon, LeBron. I know it was already put out there 4 to 6 weeks. I don't know what the timetable is for AD, but somebody please come back. I can't have Kuzma going like, man, he was like 5 for 17
your
from 3
guy
last night. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Nets. It's kind of crazy when you look at the Nets roster. Obviously, you've got your big three with Durant, Harden, Kyrie. Then you've also got now they got Blake Griffin. Obviously,
apparently Arkansas Slim also coming in on a 10-day.
Arkansas Slim might be there.
For a tryout, maybe parlay that into a D League as a call-up guy. Depth perception is going to be an issue, but you can't say this guy's not a gamer.
I can assure you there will be no infighting on his watch. If you try to start stuff, you're just going to wind up in an alley out behind the arena.
Interested to see the dynamic between him and Kyrie. I don't know how those two can coexist in the same universe, really, let alone team.
Look, I'm not saying what Arkansas Slim does. It's just rumors. But if Kyrie disappears, nobody will know if it's because of Arkansas Slim or not. So that's all I'm saying.
He'll just disappear, and then that's it.
That's it. That's all you need to know. So, yeah, look, the Nets. It's hard to say they're not going to walk their way through the Eastern Conference. I mean, number 4 in the East is would be 10th in the West. So I mean, it's not a very deep conference. But we'll see what they do. I still think the big three are going to implode at some point in time. Maybe they implode in the regular season and then get it together for the playoffs. Who knows? But still got to wait and see.
Definitely, now that this is settled, the trade deadline's passed. These were, after trade deadline kind of moves, but the most notables are all snapped up now. So this is pretty much how it's going to play out the rest of the way. I mean, for the Lakers, they obviously have to have LeBron and certainly need AD to really be a championship contender with so many good teams in the West, just to get out of the West, let alone, have a chance at winning the finals. But we will see what happens with that. This is just sad. This is real sad. Tyler brought this up to me. Right before the show. Sabres. Woo! Longest winless streak in the 21st century at 18 games. Going for the record, I'm assuming night after next or maybe 1 or 2 games later. But Tyler, if you would, enlighten us as to why this is so depressing, especially now that they have tied the record.
Yeah, so tonight they were obviously they were at 17 winless in a row. They were playing the Flyers tonight. They were up 3-0 going into the third. And they gave up 3 goals and then gave up a goal in overtime. And now they have tied the Penguins for the record for most losses in a row, which I did see this meme, and it cracked me up. I love this meme. But, man, Buffalo's the only thing that makes me feel better about being a Ducks fan, because I know the Ducks have a really bad record. A couple good young guys coming up. Ducks are obviously going to rebuild, but Buffalo. I mean, I'm glad your football team is good, because being a hockey fan in Buffalo's got to be tough right now.
Look, sometimes it's just not your night, and sometimes it's just not your decade. But the Sabres, I'm glad they went back to the classic uniform, so they got that.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, Dominic Hasek not walking through that door, fans.
No.
And this is a dark, dark time. But we will keep you updated if they do, in fact, break the record.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Their next game will probably be either Wednesday or Thursday, so I'm sure all of the hockey eyes will be on the Sabres game that night.
The eyes of the hockey world. Put it on
Yeah.
NBC prime time.
And I want to see what Don Cherry's got to say about the current state of the Sabres. I'm sure it's nothing but nice things.
A couple. Actually, let's. I did want to touch on the match play, which this, shout out old slick Billy, old Will Horschel coming through.
Old Billy Horschel. Yep.
Flip the script, and it's just kind of fun to watch these guys play match play also, because then you got to go for stuff sometimes, and you're like, all right, this is it. Like, I'm gonna get knocked out. There's only 3 holes left. I'm down, 5 or whatever. So then you got to get desperate. You're just playing the one guy that you're in the group with. Even from shot to shot, sometimes you have to change what you were gonna do depending on what the other guy that hit before you does. Also, always nice to see the payout work out like this, because you obviously have 1, 2, 3, 4, the final 4, and then 4-way tie for 5th, 8-way tie for 9th, etc., etc. But a lot of entertainment there, and Vic Perez. I just like the name. I like calling him Vic. He kind of fell apart though. Unfortunate for him. But yeah, shout out to Horschel. It's always just kind of interesting to see these guys in that situation where you're not. Yeah, if you're playing, even if you have a bad shot on Thursday, you're like, all right, but this is, I want to be there at the end on Sunday. But sometimes you just got to get desperate and try to bust a move on guys if you fall behind or something like that. So always an exciting event. I kind of wish they would have just a couple more throughout the tour season. But I enjoyed watching it. And, again, it did give us the legendary DeChambeau sideways drive, just adding to its legacy.
Yeah, it was a fun tournament. It was definitely weird seeing like a lot of the top guys going out in the group stage early, but that's kind of I guess the draw of the match plays. I mean, you got one round to figure it out. So yeah, definitely, again, like you said, always fun tournaments to watch. So definitely shout out Billy Horschel though. Nice to see him getting a win and a good payday.
And I got to give a shout out to Chris. See you out there watching from Utah, hyping up the Jazz. Now, the lifelong Jazz fan, Chris Montoya. But yes, the Jazz are crushing it right now. And like I said, the Lakers, who knows what the fan situation is going to be. So home court kind of doesn't have the same effect as it would in a normal playoff year. It's more about just get in. But you can't afford to just dig a huge hole here. LeBron's going to be out for a month to a month and a half. And that's going to be tough. We've already disproven that, Nick. Please, the best team to use an NBA Jam. No, how dare you? How dare you?
I'd rather use Seattle, but Orlando is the way to go.
Barron brings up a good point there, too. Let's hope this carries over to the Ryder Cup, which is match play, of course. Yeah. And there's certain guys that just kind of really do well. Like even Sergio, we saw him with the walk-off. He's usually been a pretty good match play player. But he's only got, 1 or 2 majors, I think, ever. So, it's a different kind of vibe. Getting these guys that are all still the best golfers, but you're just playing heads up against one guy. Oh, and shout out also Rachel. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Rachel.
Of course. Please believe that. But now let's get into a couple of the meatier things that we did want to talk about over the weekend. Let's start with, actually, this happened today because of the weather. Don't control the weather yet. But NASCAR had their first dirt track top flight race in 50 years. They basically just dumped a bunch of clay and dirt in the half-mile oval at Bristol. And unfortunately, weather over the weekend was not cooperating, turned it into a huge mud hole. So they had to run the truck race and the cup race today. I still like the idea. I wish I could have seen it live because they had to run it today. But it was pretty wild. It's the first time they really tried to do this. as far as setting this up on an existing asphalt track. And it slowly deteriorated, as you can see. I think some of the views for the fans were probably not the best. It's kind of looking Mad Max-ish right there. Hopefully, maybe you get a little discount on the tickets next time. They did say right after the race that they are going to do this again at least for the first race at Bristol next year. And I would assume they're probably going to come up with some more creative ways to sort of hopefully protect the surface. It seemed like it was full of potholes, and then the weather doesn't help, which is still going to be a factor next year because it's going to be at the same time of the year. Going to be interesting.
I think you're right about the Mad Max-ish though, because Brad Keselowski didn't have a guy on top of this car with a flaming guitar the whole race. So thought that might affect the weight, but he did okay.
It looks like Cypress Hill concert.
That's yeah. I was able to catch bits and pieces of the race. It was definitely entertaining. I mean, definitely kind of took me back to days of yore watching races at the Okie Bowl or Mason Rail was a third track. But yeah, it was fun. Other than the weather delaying everything over the weekend, it was an enjoyable race. A little wild. You could see all the drivers were having some trouble throughout the entire race, keeping their lines, not sliding out. But yeah, all in all, fun race.
And America's favorite, our least favorite on the show, Joey Logano gets the win. Hamlin had a chance at the end, and he took a weird high line and just was never able to bring the car back down. I mean, it was like a 3-lap restart at the end. He could never make it. He actually ended up coming in third, I believe. I think Stenhouse got him when he got way too high up on the track, and Stenhouse just went underneath him. But an interesting concept that I would like to see, tried again. Also, shout out to Blaney, who finished 8th in this. That's how he was looking at the end. Hell of a day. Some of the in-car camera views of some of the crashes and stuff were pretty incredible because it seems like you could almost just not see anything on the track as well.
Yeah, just a little bit of cosmetic damage, but it'll be fine. No big deal. That'll just buff right out.
That buffs right out.
Yeah.
So, everything's going to have some growing pains the first time you try it. I'm not ready to give up on the idea. I still like it. We'll see what happens going forward. They are going to try it again next year. And like I said, they'll probably come up with some tweaks to sort of smooth it out as far as just making sure it goes off, for one, on the day that it's supposed to happen, unless a torrential downpour can't control that. But just keeping the surface kind of in a little bit better shape. At this point in the program, I do see we have on the I'm going to go with the Jupiter Records and Tape Celebrity Hotline this evening.
Classic.
In honor of Cypress Hill, and I see Chris giving a shout out and saying the membrane. Bringing in on the Jupiter Celebrity Hotline, we do have Mr. No ID Justin coming into the program, repping that woo.
There it is. There it is.
How we doing,
guys?
How
are you doing? Doing well.
I'm doing better than Stipe Miocic. That's for damn sure.
Well, kind of we all are at this point. But before we get into the fights, and that's why I wanted to get you in here before that, but we got to have some tournament talk here. Particularly, the reason I bring you in at this exact moment is I see you have overtaken me.
Oh, what the fuck? I haven't checked in like 4 days. I'm in first again?
Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. But look, don't worry, America. 80 possible points. Look.
Hey,
we still got it.
Don't ever count out the sack and crack wax and bracket, man.
Right.
Silky smooth. Silky smooth.
Also, I'll give a shout out to the Baron, who I believe I saw it yesterday, and he had capped out because he only had 45 available points as of like last weekend, which he got all 45, but it looks like it got adjusted down to 44.
Oh, jeez.
So,
I demand a recount for the Baron. It should be 144.
You hate to lose a point in the clubhouse. Get that one taken away after the fact. I swear I saw him at 45 out of 45 last night, but he falls down to 44. Callan, who was with us earlier, still 104 points available, but not his best showing. And Valerie, it all kind of fell apart for her early on, especially the Iowa.
Yeah.
incident.
Hey,
Really.
21 to 21 points. It's 100%.
You want to get all
Yeah,
that's
right.
out there for you, okay? So
Shout out Valerie for helping fill out the group this year.
exactly.
Yes, absolutely.
And we got to fight to the finish here. I see Marcus with the most available points, nipping at mine and Justin's
Look,
heels. And there's
You guys are all talking about potential. I only care about points.
I live in the
Care
now.
about reality, right? Yeah,
Look, there's a
exactly.
damn good chance that now we're getting into like the high dollar amount games. So if my teams start losing, it's going to be like chunks of like 15 and 20 falling off of my
I mean, it's
available
looking like Rocket Mortgage might get some free pub. Either that or the Human Landscaping will get some free pub. One or the other.
Either way, two great sponsors. Well, Rocket, just for me specifically, I worked that out. That's a side deal. The Baron. All right, call it what you want, Baron, but I don't know if you know how this works. I don't know. I've never seen anyone get to 45 available. You definitely, like Valerie, topped out at 21 out of 21, but she had more available points than you when you were down to 45. It just things didn't work out.
Well,
But
in Valerie had Oregon in her Final Four and in her national championship game. So I think as soon as Oregon went out, that was
That would've
kind of
been
the
tough.
end of her
Yeah.
Pretty much
possible
it, yeah.
points.
Yep.
But also to that effect, if they would have got through, that could have been a huge. Like no one else would have had them. So
Oh, she would have skyrocketed from 11th to top 3 immediately. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Hey, Pac-12 strong, baby.
there were a couple betting incidents of note. For one, myself, I had a 4-game parlay all the games yesterday, and Creighton just couldn't manage to lose by less than 14 points. I mean, Gonzaga looks like a beast right now. I'm not gonna lie.
They do.
But
Yeah, they were seen.
it sucks because that was the first game of the day, and then all 3 of these others proceeded to hit. So I just had to watch that play out over the course of the next 8 hours. That all my other 3 came through, but Creighton just came. Well, a combination of Creighton and Gonzaga popped my bubble early on in the day. Tyler pointed out this will make me, just for consolation for me, an even more incredible scenario that was an 8-game parlay, which Tyler has dubbed the anti-parlay, whereby none of the 8 came through. That's almost just as unlikely as hitting all 8.
Yeah, that's just something like you never like when I saw this, I kind of thought this is actually more impressive than hitting all 8. Like missing 8.
Yeah,
And some of these are favorites. Like that's insane.
You should win a fat payout for that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, totally.
You should
No, you
win
should.
an extremely fat payout. If you lay down an 8-leg parlay and you lose all 8, that alone should be worth something.
Well, and you can see now we're
I
up at
agree.
8 legs. You get plus 71,000. Gotta love that. But I feel like there should be some kind of sportsbook insurance. Like, well, if by some chance all these don't come through, like literally none, we'll give you your money back, or we'll double your money that you put in.
Dude, just do one of those FanDuel we'll match how much you deposit things.
Yeah, there you go. That'll work.
Yeah, sportsbook credit. You'll end up making money on it anyway. Sportsbooks, come on. Yeah, so I've never seen anything like that. There's 4 favorites right there on the screen.
Now, if you want sportsbook credit, do not go to this guy. I'll just say that right now. Do not
Cash
go to
is
this guy.
king, no credit accepted.
That's
No
it.
credit at
No.
all. Please believe that.
No.
That is a hard and fast rule. It's plastered everywhere when you walk into the Arkansas Slim Sportsbook Emporium.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at the current situation, and I think the Baylor game, I haven't seen it recently, but it looked like that was getting out of hand.
Yeah, I mean, Arkansas made a nice run. They're down by 8 at halftime.
Ooh, well, adding to the intrigue, Tyler let me know that I think the MGM book took a
$550,000 bet for Arkansas at plus 8.
So just to cover. So that guy's really sweating it out right now.
Yeah, I'm seeing 38 to 46 at halftime. So yeah. Just to reiterate
so that guy's still got a chance. And I always think, I'm thinking of the small man's perspective though when I hear that, because it's like, man, this guy's got to be sweating bullets right now. But anyone that can just roll up and drop 550,000 on a bet, they don't care about anything. So I think
good to see Floyd Mayweather still out there.
Yeah, still keeping his name in the news. But Baylor, I mean, look, that's my pick. I need them to win if I want to win this bracket challenge. And again, save on the shipping for the T-shirt that we are all fighting for.
Yep.
Unfortunately for the America's sweetheart, Oral Roberts, the Oral Roberts University. Sorry.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Arkansas finally cut the dream run short, but they're getting theirs back right now, it looks like. Although they're hanging tough. So 550,000.
Yep.
That guy, I don't know what that pays out. I don't know if you have like a tweet or something on that, Tyler, but I'm sure it's...
The tweet didn't say what the payout was, unfortunately.
Well, I'm sure it's a handsome sum of money.
I would imagine so.
Also, earlier today, the dream run for Oregon State comes to an end. Still, overall, just my mind is blown that the Pac-12 has all these teams in the Elite Eight. And two teams going for it in the late game last night. So, that was guaranteed there was going to be a third with USC and Oregon. Look, I'm a UCLA fan. I didn't watch a ton during the regular season, but of all the teams I watched, I definitely saw more UCLA games, or USC also because they're on like cable down here. I just didn't think anyone was that good, but maybe at the Conference of Champions, it's a real thing.
I told you guys earlier this week, I really thought only the Trojans, or I believe we settled on the Hogs. Those were the only ones that could pound out the Beavers. But lo and behold, it was the Cougars who knew the way to the Beav all along.
Cougars.
That's it, man.
Don't sleep on the Cougars.
Yeah, I do find it funny. Like, and don't get me wrong, Houston looked really good in the game today. They've looked really good kind of throughout the tournament. But, looking at the path they've taken, they've played a 15 seed, a 10 seed, an 11 seed, and a 12 seed.
Yeah.
Like, if you just looked at by seeding, can you think of any, easier path? And again, this year we don't know. So, I mean, you can kind of throw seedings out the window. But
that's like another testament to just how odd this year's been. Like I mentioned to you guys last week, people laughed at Arkansas's out-of-conference schedule because they played North Texas, Colgate, and the Oral Roberts. Fast forward to tournament time, those are powerhouse opponents that they played non-conference, So it's just a weird year, man, for sure.
And then we switch over to the games yesterday that will, now the Elite Eight games will be tomorrow. So now we are going to end up with the Gonzaga-USC matchup. I think I saw this morning USC was, I want to say, plus 12, which, again, I got burned. On Gonzaga opposition trying to cover. But at some point, I feel like Gonzaga's going to get in at least a tough game because they have just walked through this tournament. Like, they're just like an NBA team. Like, they're just killing everyone.
Yeah, I think they've had one game that was early in the season in a non-conference game against a top 5 opponent where they didn't win by double digits. They've just been rolling over everybody. And USC's looked really good in the tournament. I mean, obviously they destroyed Kansas. They beat up on Oregon last night. They're looking good. I mean, maybe this is the game Gonzaga doesn't cover, but I'm not even willing to bet against them at this point in time. Gonzaga's covering. That's just what they do.
I feel like this is one of those, okay, USC is really peaking at the right time. Again, like I said, my theory is Gonzaga's going to have to win some kind of tough game, whether it's here, Final Four, or the championship game. But that may not even be the case. And it could be one of those just I've learned my lesson. I'm staying away. I'm never doubting Gonzaga, never betting against them again. But USC did dominate Oregon last night. I mean, it seemed like that zone defense was just too much for Oregon. And anytime Oregon would make one of those little mini runs, 6 straight, 7 straight, whatever, then USC would just they kept hitting those shots to keep it out of reach. The Mobley kids are looking really great. I mean, that team looks really, really good right now. Just one of those things where it's kind of coming. I mean, they look good, throughout most of the season, not all of it, but it's kind of coming together at the right time. So if anyone has a shot at Gonzaga to this point, you would say that's probably, this is going to be the team that's made it the furthest of any team they played, obviously, by definition. So I'm hoping, but probably not willing to put money on USC covering just because it's just it's too soon, man. It's too soon. And to that point of peaking at the right time, somehow, bizarrely, well, actually, in this case, kind of both of these teams. Michigan was really a top team just in preseason rankings. came out, pretty good. Then sort of had some head scratchers later in the season. But throughout this tournament, it seems like they've gotten stronger and stronger. The Florida State game, you have to say, is probably the best game they've put together all tournament long. And UCLA, all of a sudden, it's like, how does all four of your now best players just suddenly learn how to shoot in the tournament? I don't know. But they're against Alabama, that was a really good game to watch, especially if you had that over. It was like 140.5, and it was not going to hit until the
overtime
buzzer beater to tie it and force overtime. And I was kind of curious to see how UCLA would respond to that, because that's always a big momentum thing. UCLA did not skip a beat. I think they came out and scored like 7 straight points to start the overtime and just put it away. So weirdly, a team that I had no faith in, even though that is the team I root for, which is probably why I had no faith in them.
True, yeah, exactly.
I've seen too much to know.
It's not a sign of a true fan.
The last month and a half or so of the season was terrible. I think they blew leads in like 6 games over that time period. But it's coming together right now. We will see what happens. Obviously, this means we will have a Tyler and Ronnie Bowl in this game,
True.
Michigan versus UCLA. So may the best man win. You bastard.
Yeah, I did have concerns about Florida State, but Michigan, they've really been turning to their big men so far in clutch situations during the tournament. Hunter Dickinson down the center, Brandon Johns, Franz Wagner, who's kind of a he can go inside or he can play outside as well. I mean, they've just the big men have been coming through in the clutch. Florida State had zero answer for when Michigan went down low. I'm kind of hoping the same thing happens to UCLA, but again, if UCLA is shooting like they did yesterday, I can't even call it with UCLA at this point in time. Like I thought they were going to lose to Michigan State presented by Rocket Mortgage, but they've kept winning. So I can't even call it with UCLA right now.
I completely agree. That's why I'm just going to hope for the best. And I was telling the Baron yesterday, UCLA is already playing with house money at this point. So unless they just totally get boat raced, I'm not going to be real disappointed if they do lose to Michigan. It was a pretty surprising and good run for them. But on that note, and we will look forward to those games tomorrow, to cap it off here, I want to check in with the Fight Doctor. We did have UFC 260 over the weekend, the Stipe Ngannou rematch. And we want to bring in the Fight Doctor, and I hope to get Justin, the Fightful Bottomist, back in here as well after we fire this up.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. The heavyweight champion of the world.
UFC 260. Fight Doctor, Fight Phlebotomist, thank you for joining me. I'll be the moderator here, I suppose. Let's start with the Fight Doctor. I will defer to I guess he's this way. Everything's backwards over here.
There you go.
Sort of just walk us through this. It was a rematch in the title fight. Pretty overall good event. I got to see a good part of it. Again, there are ways, so, hit me up in the DM if you want to watch it. But
hit up Khabib. Just go to Khabib.
I just text Khabib.
Live.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, can you go live? Yeah. He's like, yeah, I got you.
Do you know how to spell Nurmagomedov? That's right. The website.
As long as you can figure that out, that's how you get it.
Good luck.
That's the password.
But yeah, all in all, it was a good show. I mean, obviously the big one that everybody was talking about, looking forward to, of course, was the heavyweight title fight, the rematch between Stipe and Francis Ngannou. Every question I had about Stipe going into the fight, he 100% answered it. During that first round when Stipe went for the single leg, Francis stuffed it, went into a perfect sprawl, and then whipped around and started punching him from the top. At that moment, I sat straight up in my chair and said, this entire division is now fucked.
Yeah.
we all knew about the punching power, but now he's showing he's got technique. He can stuff takedowns. I mean, what are you going to do? what are you going to do? If you can't take this guy down and get on top of him, eventually he's going to hit you. It's going to hurt. You can see here Stipe's bright red head. And again, credit to Stipe. He's had an amazing heavyweight run as champ. He's probably the only guy in the division you've seen that has taken multiple punches from Francis. But this dude is just he's the next step in the heavyweight division. And now that he's showing more of an all-around game, it's like he's going to have this title as long as he wants it.
Yeah, in the little graphic there, that is a result. The color on Stipe's face, that is a result of multiple Ford Escorts to the face.
Yeah.
That's what causes that redness.
Yep.
Yeah, no, we talked about it before the fight. It was such a hard fight to predict. I know you and I were texting and talking back and forth last week, and it was like, it was so hard. Even watching old fights, like you can't really, because all you're really banking on is that Francis has advanced enough. And really until they got in the ring, and like you said, until he went for that single leg, we didn't really know. We didn't know if he had advanced enough or come far enough along in his training. But clearly, man, like that guy ironed out any holes from the first fight, and he was dominant. And I mean, God save John Jones, bro. If you want to get in the ring with that guy, no, thank you, man.
Yeah,
So,
and I was just gonna say we were texting together during the fight, and you could see, all right, this guy's just made so many strides in his game. He's already like naturally insanely gifted, but also there's like a mental part that you could kind of feel was coming off. Like he knows he's like the baddest man alive right now.
Yeah, he's just so powerful and so big, dude. And it's like it's gonna take you need somebody like Brock Lesnar's physique to even come close to hanging with this guy. And it's like there's nobody in the weight class right now, and I don't think John Jones is the answer. I'm gonna be honest. I'd take Francis in a heartbeat against Bones.
So I am glad you brought that up because just a little bit earlier today, John Jones kind of went on one of his typical Twitter rampages here.
He's trying to talk his way out. He's trying to talk his way out. That's what he's doing.
So, I got to play the crazy card to get out of this.
So kind of looking over this, like I will say this, I as much as I dislike John Jones as a person, he's a pretty shitty, scummy guy with a lot of issues. I will say this, he should be getting paid more, as all fighters should be. So definitely, if you want to make this mega fight, you should pay him. That said, I don't know if you can see through this here where he talks about, this company's, got me depressed. When I see that, I'm like, dude, this company has bent over backwards for you so many times. Like if you were with anybody else, you'd be arrested and you wouldn't have a job. So I'm kind of like, I'm not totally feeling what Jones is putting out there, but at the same time, people say they want this fight.
Beefs, bro. At this point,
right? He's out there.
Shinigami's out there. Shinigami's out there.
He's ducking him too.
But I kind of the shitty thing for Jones is he doesn't have leverage in the situation because let's say they can't get this fight made. Dana can just say, guess what? I've got a trilogy fight with Stipe. I've got Derek Lewis on there, who's another guy that can end any fight at any given second. So as much as I believe that, yes, like these guys should be getting paid, John Jones is kind of in a bad situation here. Like he doesn't have the leverage he thinks he does.
Well, and I'm going to be honest. It's like, pick your poison, bro. Do you want to come fight Francis Ngannou, or do you want to go fight Jan Blachowicz? You know what I mean? Like those are your options right now. If you want to enter back into this arena and get a title shot out the gate, those are your options. And I would not want to fight either one of those guys in a million effing years, dude. Like
either way, it's hurting.
Yeah. You're either fighting, like we talked about earlier this week, you're either fighting a guy that worked in sand mines or you're fighting a guy that trains by hanging dead men in trees. So, pick your poison, dude.
Well, we got a couple more minutes here, so I just want to run through the rest. Fight Doctor. Any in particular here? So we do have the heat map. We have redubbed it the pain index.
The pain index. So co-main event. We had Vicente Luque submitting Tyron Woodley in a pretty damn fun fight. This was the best and most exciting Woodley has looked since he first won the title. Both guys kind of rocked each other. Unfortunately, hey, look, it was just Woodley got rocked later on harder. Luque was able to get that Darce choke on him and get the win. Where this leads for Woodley, I don't know. That's 4 losses in a row. Kind of the standard for the UFC is if you lose 3 in a row, you're gone.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. Just were you able to? I think you caught the fight.
I did. I had to watch it later, but yeah, it was. I agreed, with your sentiments there. Woodley caught him early. And I did. I 100% echoed what you had texted to me. It was like it literally when he caught him, it was almost like he was like, oh yeah. Like it's been so long since he's had the upper hand in a fight. He was
This
like,
is my job.
yeah, I'm supposed to finish this guy. And yeah, I mean, it was a very entertaining fight. You know what I mean? Like it was definitely fun to watch. And yeah, it's just sad because I am a big fan of Woodley's, and I really thought this would be the one. I kind of agreed with what you had said last week that if anybody could bring good Woodley out, it would be Vincent, and I thought that he did. It just wasn't enough, man. So. Yeah, tough loss for Woodley, man, because I think he is extremely talented, and it's just like that's what happens in the fight game, though. Sometimes when you're up on that pedestal and you get taken down, you can't ever get back, man. Like
happened to Liddell, man.
Yeah,
for sure. He was invincible until he wasn't.
Yeah,
Well,
that's the way it
and
works.
like Tyler said too, when you're kind of sort of, it just like nobody knows what's going on in any one of these fighters' minds, but it's just kind of the look of like you're kind of going through the motions, not really like. Yeah, it was refreshing to see him really like engaged in a fight, but it's kind of like, it's been a while, man. Like,
Yeah, it's tough, man.
Then we'll just real quick run through these other two fights I want to touch on. Sugar Sean O'Malley getting the PKO on Thomas Almeida on his third walk-off attempt in the fight. It was one-sided outside of a few, at a time where Almeida started landing some leg kicks on O'Malley. O'Malley had it in control. Eventually, like I said, multiple walk-off attempts. Finally gets around the third time, which I know some people were, particularly the announcers, were blaming the ref for Almeida taking it. He shouldn't have.
Just ignore that one, by the way. He's 13-0. He'll tell you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
I did. I was going to say, I messaged you guys earlier. I caught an interview of his today. He actually did point out he had shirts made that were basically like a right hand from Sugar Lane was basically what it was. So essentially what his explanation was, he pounded him with the left and then he let him get back up because he was like, that's going to ruin my t-shirt sales if I knock him out with the left and I got, a right from, Sugar Lane. So kudos to that guy. You know what I mean? Like he is, how do you not like O'Malley?
I'm going to be honest.
Himself.
The Mosquito people came to me a few months back wanting to sign a peace treaty, but I was like, dude, I already made shirts, bro. No, I can't.
Yeah,
can't do it.
That's it, man. It's too late, dude. It's merchandising, man. That's what the world revolves around now. So yeah, O'Malley always fun, dude.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. So good to see him getting back on the right track. And then the other fight I wanted to touch on was the opening fight on the main card, which was Jamie Mularkey knocking out Kama Worthy. And I believe we have a presentation here. He actually knocked out Worthy so hard, Worthy turned into Ric Flair and did the old classic Ric Flair flop. I don't know, Ronnie, do we have the video or
yes.
a presentation of that?
Efforting.
Do I have a video? Let me see.
The answer is yes, you son of a bitch.
Oh, there he goes. Yeah, that was pretty bizarre to see. That
poor guy, and poor Worthy. There was no Arn Anderson to tag in either.
No. He didn't have the Horseman behind him. He didn't have J.J. Dillon calling stuff from the corner. So yeah, but big win for Mularkey. Like you can see there, he took no damage. It really was only one big punch in the fight. That was it, and it was enough to knock out Worthy. So,
ladies and gentlemen, he is that pale. That is not part of the damage that he took.
Yes, that's true.
No filter. But thank you.
Great weekend of fights.
Yeah, it was a nice pay-per-view. Really, I mean, besides the tournament, that's, now we get down to the point, especially when you go from that weekend between, like, the glory of the first weekend, like, then you're starved for it. You get to the 16 and the 8. College basketball, just the concept. The execution maybe needs some work for the NASCAR dirt racing. But a lot of good stuff over the weekend. So I enjoyed it. Thank you, as always, for joining us, commenting, hitting us up. Thank you, Fightful Bottomist, a.k.a. No ID Justin, for chiming in here. And also, just in the group chat as we were watching through that on Saturday night. But we will get back with you guys on Wednesday.
Hey, what's up? And, baseball predictions on Wednesday? What are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah, dude. I mean, let's fire it up.
absolutely.
Run it.
Absolutely.
Dodgers are winning the West. I'm done.
That's it. Done. He's already got his prediction. Lock
What
it
a
in.
cop out.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in, Justin. As always, love having you on the show. Very love that as well. I'll be rocking my Dodger gear. Probably Friday actually. But also shout out Ronnie. Shout out to Ronnie. Shout out to everybody here. Tomorrow we're not going to have a show, but tomorrow is our 1 year anniversary, so I'm sure we'll celebrate that a little bit on Wednesday. But thank you guys for always tuning in, leaving the comments, leaving questions, whatever. Jump on the show. We love you guys. You guys know the drill. Keep the fire.
At the